Hi, Peter. I'm so happy that you've come on to Auntie Lou's Hour because I saw you on Instagram doing these Spice Up Girls, and you're so positive about about your HIV status,
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm just really glad that we're here. And so
I'm
I'm
happy
going to
to be
kick
here.
off. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, so I just want to kick off and I just want to ask you, like, what happened? What is your journey when you found out you had HIV?
Well, when I was diagnosed, obviously that came as a massive shock. And I think I went through all the emotions that everybody goes through: fear,
Yeah.
um, depression. I thought I was going to die. What are my
Yeah.
kids going to do? They're going to grow up without a dad. But that didn't last very long.
Yeah.
I was told over the phone, which probably wasn't the best way of informing me that I was HIV positive.
Mm.
They
Wow.
didn't get me to come in, so I was told over the phone, and what felt like an eternity, but was probably only a matter of seconds. All those
Mm.
emotions were going through my head. I thought, this is it. It's curtains time.
Yeah.
I better
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
you know, I, I better get my funeral arrangements ready because I knew nothing about HIV. But the nurse quickly said, "You're going to be fine. This is easily manageable now. You're going to be okay. You're going to live a long life. You won't die from HIV,"
Yeah.
which eased my feelings a little bit. So they got me to go into the clinic, and I had to have a second test.
Mm.
That second test was done, and that's when I got 100% you're
So
HIV positive.
I'm really curious here because you said you didn't know anything much about. Did you know anything about HIV before you
No,
found out?
nothing at all.
Nothing. It just
No,
like was not on your radar.
No, my only knowledge of HIV is from those adverts from the 80s and the 90s, the Grim Reaper,
Yeah.
you know, stay
Yeah.
away, just doom and gloom and death
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. Yes.
nothing.
Yeah. Same.
But yeah, I just, when I was diagnosed, they put me on medication within 2 days of being diagnosed. My
Okay.
viral load, my viral load was 265,000. My CD4 was about 350, I think, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Um, had a lot of symptoms, but I didn't know what they were at the time.
Yeah.
Sore throat, rashes, fatigue that I can't put into words how bad it was, and
Yeah.
it would come in waves. Swollen lymph nodes here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, a multitude of different things that I didn't know what it was at the time. But
But you
after
got
my
on your meds. Yeah. How was it when you got on your meds?
um, the first couple of days, I felt a bit strange because I was put on two pills. The one was a blue pill, I don't, and the other one was a small yellow pill. I can't remember for the life of me what they were called. But within 3 weeks, I was undetectable. But the first couple of days, I felt a bit. It was like a bit of an out of body experience. It was just I
Yeah.
felt very odd, but that settled down very quick. And then 6 months after that, I was put on a drug called Triamec, which is right here.
Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my best friend.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? Like,
So
like
that's what I've been on ever since. So the first night I went on to Triamec, because I take my
Mm.
pill at 8:30 every evening.
Yeah.
Um, I f- I had I don't know whether I must have had a very bad reaction to it because I felt for about 3 hours I felt like I was dying.
Yeah.
Well, my wife said I went grey, I was shaking, and
Yeah.
I was close to phoning an ambulance, but it settled down, and
Yeah.
ever since then I've been fine. You know, I've,
You've been fine.
yeah,
So when you found out, did you like I understand what actually, here's a question, like why was you so depressed?
what after being
Yeah,
diagnosed?
yeah. When you found out that you had
Yeah,
HIV and you said you went into this huge depression, why was you depressed? What
yeah,
was you depressed about?
that didn't last long. I'm
Ah,
not. I'm talking days at
yeah,
most.
yeah,
Um, there was all sorts I went through. Guilt,
yeah,
shame.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm,
yeah,
nobody can find out about this.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
I'm never going to be
Stigma.
able to live. I'm never going to be able to live a normal life. I knew
Yeah,
nothing. I knew nothing at
it's
all about.
over.
Yeah,
Life's over.
yeah. But the
Yeah,
more what I did was is I just started researching myself. You know, I
mm,
would ask every time I went into the clinic. I think I drove them mental because I would ask question after question after question. You know, I
yeah,
wanted to find out as much as I possibly could about HIV
yeah.
and how I could live with HIV. And
I mean, I find that I'm quite fascinated because this show, we are all so different. There are literally no two people the same. There might be similarities, but nobody is the same. And what you just said really kind of made me kind of remember that when I was diagnosed, I done the opposite. I done the opposite to you. I didn't want to see anything, know anything, read anything. I put my head in the sand. Whereas you wanted all the information and you drove them around the bend,
I
wanting
did,
all this
yeah.
information. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, literally, I drove them around the bend, and I mean, they're lovely people. The ladies in there are amazing, and the specialist that
yeah,
I have now is unbelievable. But yeah, I was like a bull in a china shop. I thought I'm very quickly. I'm quite a mentally strong person. I'm not talking about
yeah,
the physical side, but mentally, I thought the more research I did, I thought I'm not going to let this beat me, you know. And
yeah.
it shocked me into changing my life
Oh,
because I had
yeah.
multiple addictions. Um, I smoked cannabis for 25 years every day,
Mm,
never missed a
yeah,
day. Through the years, I've done ecstasy, cocaine, speed, you
yeah,
name it, I've done it, everything apart from
yeah.
injectables. And the day I was diagnosed and I was 42 at the time. That is the day I say my life started. You know,
You know what? Well done. It's just massive what you've just said there. The thing that really struck me was the cannabis, because it's not just about cannabis, it's also about, it's about the nicotine that
yeah,
goes with the cannabis, so
yeah,
it's a double whammy there. And you're saying that you'd smoked for how many years? Did you say
25
25 years?
and
And then you
cigarettes,
stopped.
cigarettes,
Yeah.
and I stopped that day. Everything. I don't.
That's
I
yeah,
don't drink anymore. I don't smoke anymore. I don't touch drugs anymore. My new addiction
yeah,
is my family, my friends,
yeah, yeah.
and the gym.
So,
So
do you know what? I love to hear you say it. HIV empowered me to be me, and it sounds
yeah,
like it empowered you to be you. And
I mean,
I think what we are both saying is when we got the diagnosis, we were on the floor, but actually, you got a choice. You can sink or you can swim. And if you
yeah.
decide to swim, you're going to find out that your life begins,
Yeah, I mean,
actually.
when I was, you know, diagnosed, my life was in the toilet, not because of the diagnosis. Me
Yeah.
and my wife were just going in separate directions.
Mm,
we've got 5 children, so it was just children, children, children. We didn't have any time for each other, and we just slowly but surely drifted apart
yeah.
and started going down our own paths. We never had any blazing rows or anything like that. We've always had a good
Yeah.
laugh. But we were just drifting apart and going in separate directions. You know, I was putting friends first.
Yeah.
My life evolved around getting stoned and
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
looking after myself.
I know the
And
feeling.
when I was diagnosed, it shocked me into changing my life. And
Yeah.
HIV didn't kill me; it saved me.
Yeah,
It saved
absolutely. Absolutely.
and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people
Yeah.
I say this to think I'm crazy, but
Yeah.
you know, it's part of me now, and I wouldn't be without it.
So why did you decide to become so visible, Peter, on social media? Because that's where I saw
Yeah,
you on
yeah,
social
yeah,
media. Because in the grand scheme of things, there are not loads of people with HIV visible on social media, and those that are, we all know each other on social media. Then I
yeah.
saw you pop up. You're the new
Yeah.
kid on the block.
Well, yeah, I am. Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, I just wanted to, as I started researching more and watching people on YouTube that have been diagnosed with HIV, listening to
Yeah,
their stories, you know, people like yourself who have been out in the open for a while. And I went to the clinic one day for one of my checkups every six
mm,
months, and I spoke to my specialist and expressed that I'm interested in becoming open and going public, if you like, with my diagnosis.
Yeah.
And she said straight away, I advise you don't. And I thought,
Wow,
I said,
really?
and I came out of that, and I know why. It's because of the stigma. They were
Yeah.
concerned that I would get hate and all of this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So I drove away from there, and I felt quite angry. And I've always been quite a stubborn git, so
I
my
can
parents tell
imagine.
me. And I thought, well, no, I'm not accepting that. Why
Yeah.
should I have to hide this? Every
Yeah.
other illness you get, you can talk about and discuss, but why can't I talk about HIV? And it just didn't sit
Bravo.
right with me. And the more I thought about it, the more I discussed it with my wife and my children, my mum, my dad, my sister, and the more I expressed them why I wanted to do it, the more they supported me, and they were fearful as well that my children were worried that their dad's going
Yeah.
to get teased or bullied or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that just spurs me on more to want to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
also more importantly, is hearing other people's stories. I heard of
Yeah.
one young lad, he's 23 years old. I'm not going to name names where he's from or anything, but he chose to come off of his medication and chose death
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the shame and the stigma that's attached to it. And he passed
Mm,
away, this person.
mm,
And that broke my heart.
mm.
It upset me and it angered me all at the same time. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, what can I do to try and do my
Yeah.
small little part in bringing about the end to. I don't think you'll ever end stigma altogether, because there's always people that are going to
Yeah.
hate. But I thought, well, I'm going to get my ass back in the gym and get as fit as possible and show people what a person living with HIV can do.
Yay.
Yeah. So, and that's all I'm trying to do. It's as simple as
Yeah.
that. I'm just showing that you can live a happy, healthy life living with HIV.
Yeah.
And not only that, I want to show that I'm happier now with HIV than I was
Yes.
without it.
Can you actually get your head around that? Because, you're absolutely speaking my language. Like, um, I think I am living a better life with HIV, like a better life with HIV, because I'm more free. I feel I've got a sense of freedom. I'm
Yep.
not hiding. And that is just such a nice feeling to feel
Yep.
free, you know?
Yep. I feel like before I was diagnosed, I had all sorts of things that I was struggling with,
Yeah,
sexuality,
yeah,
accepting that I'm, a bi man.
yeah,
Um, I had a lot of guilt I was holding on to as well, with not giving my family the attention they deserved,
yeah,
um, the drugs, I felt like I was the black sheep of the family, that I was a loser
yeah,
and I was never going to
yeah,
achieve anything. And
mm,
when I was diagnosed, I just kind of let go of all of that, and I thought I've got nothing to lose here. So I
yeah,
sat down with my wife, told her everything, and we both just opened up and started
yeah,
discussing things. And what we
mm,
realised is we're more alike than we realised. We
yeah.
were both hiding things, and it just brought all of that to the surface. And we just started discussing, and we're closer now than we've ever been.
So, can I say, did HIV save your marriage?
Hell yes.
Hell to the yes. Oh, that's just amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people listening to this, maybe find it difficult to get their head around that
Yep.
HIV can be quite a positive thing. It can be a positive thing once you have the knowledge, because when you have the knowledge, you take your medication and you are just like everybody else.
Yep.
You take your tablet and you're fine because you can't transmit it. It's
No,
not contagious.
that's what people struggle to accept, is you
Yeah,
can't transmit. You equals you. They can't get their head around that. And
yeah,
it just comes down to educating yourself properly. I had to
yeah,
educate myself, on HIV,
yeah,
because all of the stigmas and things like that people think about HIV, let's face it, we all probably thought the same before we were diagnosed,
yeah,
and I just want to do that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, to encourage. I think that's my strength, is encouraging. Um, and I'm quite a strong person. I'm not, again, not the physical side, the mental side. And
Do you know
I
what?
want to support people as well.
Do you know what I love about your story? What I love about your story is the fact that you smoked loads of weed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You took loads of drugs.
yeah,
You got tacked up a lot. Um, you were bisexual,
yeah,
and you thought you were going to die when you got HIV, and you managed. And you felt like you were the black sheep of the family. Things were going down the shitter, you know.
yeah,
Oops.
yeah.
But like you've turned all that around through this diagnosis. It was like a wake up call, and I think that there are so many people. Let's put HIV to one side, Pete. Yeah, let's put it to one side. There are
Yeah.
so many people out there, so many young people, older people out there that are really struggling. Like they're struggling with all sorts of stuff. And I suppose what you're saying, is that when you're struggling, you don't need to wait for HIV to happen.
No, no. I mean, it's this. Um, I've got people asking me to do podcasts and things like that all over the place, and I'm also going to be speaking in a church pretty soon. So
Yeah,
I come from a religious background. My dad was a
yeah.
minister, so I was a minister's son. So there was a lot of pressure on me as a young lad.
Yeah,
There's a lot to delve into there. You probably need two or three
yeah,
podcasts with me, to be honest. But
yeah,
so
yeah,
the local church, when I first came out about my diagnosis, it was actually standing in front of a congregation in church.
yeah.
So about 100 people. In November, I stood up and gave my testimony, and
Mm,
told my story, and came out about my diagnosis. And I didn't know how it was going to be received, but I got nothing but love, high fives after
yeah,
the service, people
yeah,
saying you're so brave. And now another church has asked me to give my testimony this month, but it's a much larger church. And also, I'm going to talk about things I didn't speak about in the last testimony. So I'm going to talk about
yeah.
sexuality, because I feel that's something that really needs to be spoken about in church.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
you know, I'm not hating on churches, because this is the way I
yeah,
look at it. There's good and bad in every walk of life. I've met good people in church. I've met bad people in church. I've met
yeah,
good people out of church and bad people out
mm,
of church. You know, um, to be honest with you, I've had more um, stigma, if you like, for going to church than for HIV. To be honest
yeah,
with you, if I'm being honest,
yeah,
people make a lot of judgments, but yeah, I want to talk about a lot of stuff in within church.
yeah.
I think that's very important. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
I think it's absolutely needed. But so, like when you said that you spoke to your healthcare provider and they were trying to dissuade you from coming out because they were
Yeah.
concerned for stigma. Was it as bad as you thought, the stigma? Was there any, or were people okay?
No one was, shall we say, no one said anything to my face,
Overtly, yeah.
because I'd have to give them a
Yeah.
bit of a slap. But no, I wouldn't do that. I'm only joking. But no, it was all positive.
Yeah.
People were just saying you're very brave. But what it did was, I was open in public, if you like, on World AIDS Day.
Mm,
So I went out in public for the first time with my red ribbon on, and what I found it did is
yeah.
it started dialogue, and
Mm,
that's why I'm doing what I'm doing as well, to educate,
yeah.
to
Yeah.
educate, to encourage, to support, to show that you can live a long, happy life, but you can be strong, fit, and healthy. You're doing that with your yoga as well. You
Yeah.
know,
And you're doing that with your weights.
yeah, same thing. And
Yeah.
you know, I would never force anyone to be open about their diagnosis, but I'd encourage it.
Agreed.
Because the more people that do, the more people are going to be educated, and
So,
see.
you know, um, So a couple of things before I close. I just wanted to say what you said about um, religion, church, and HIV.
Yeah,
It's one of my pet subjects. It's something that I feel really, really passionate about,
yeah,
having been brought up in the church system and the shame and the guilt and how I felt when I found out I had HIV. I think there's something to share there to help others
yeah.
to live well. Okay, so the last question for me, Pete. So if there's somebody out there listening, um, and they're struggling or they've just been diagnosed, what would you say to them?
Educate yourself. Educate yourself. Ask questions. From your health provider. Do as much research on HIV as you possibly can. Look at people like myself and you and how we're living, how happy we are. You know, we're not existing with HIV, we're thriving with HIV.
Thriving.
I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life.
Veto.
HIV is not a death sentence anymore. The fear, the stigma can be, but I just don't let the haters bother me if there is any out there. But no, I'm
Yeah.
waffling. Um,
No.
just educate yourself as much as you can on it. It's
Yeah.
one pill a day.
Yeah.
I met a person yesterday who came all the way from Ireland to take my picture and to log my HIV journey. He was here for 3 hours and he flew back to Dublin. But he was telling me he's diabetic. He's on 9 pills a day.
Yeah.
I'm HIV
Yeah.
positive and I take one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And I'm 44 years old. I'm stronger and fitter now than when I was 20,
Yeah.
all
That's
while
just
living with
amazing.
HIV. So yeah, just educate yourself. There's support there for you if you require it, and go out there and live your life and enjoy it. Yeah,
Yay! Oh, thank you so much, Pete. I'm sure, I'm sure we will meet again. We will have another chat, especially about the religious stuff.
yeah,
But
and
on the
and meet
line,
in person, sometime as well.
absolutely. Stay
Yeah.
on the line. We'll have another little chat. Thank you again, darling.